Hello again, everybody. My name is John Healy. I do a podcast. It's called It's Good to Talk. It's good to talk because I like to meet new people and share stories and see what they have to say about their life and their life skills. People know me because I published this book, Tony McKern, and it's his life story. Stories from 1941 all the way up to recently. Podcast is sponsored by LiffyMoving.com, which will connect into my guest today. So my guest today is Kyle Olson. He works in an unusual industry, recycling pallets. And don't switch off yet because pallets are very important. To those of you, my friends here in New York City, especially on the Upper East Side and the Lower East Side, Fifth Avenue and Park Avenue, you think pallets. What about pallets? Well, let's think about toilet paper, okay? When you go to a supermarket and you see toilet paper on the shelves, that toilet paper would not be there if it wasn't for someone didn't load a pallet and get that toilet paper to the store. You may say that pallets keep New York City's asses clean. Kyle, pleasure to have you on today, Kyle Olson. You explain the name of your company and where you're from and what you do and how long you're doing it. Over to you.
Thank you very much for having me. My name of my company is Specialty Pallet and Crate, and we are based out of Boyceville, Wisconsin, west central Wisconsin, about an hour east of Minneapolis, St. Paul. We process and recycle wood waste pallets. I started it about 13 years ago now. So we process about 20,000 pallets a week.
Okay.
So we go through those pallets, and as you said, all of our goods in this country are shipped on pallets. Every semi you see going down the road has got pallets in the back of it. And when manufacturers put those pallets on, all their good products on at the beginning, at the end, there's got to be, when they get to the end user, there's got to be a way for those pallets to get back to the beginning of that cycle. Typical pallet, the wood pallet will get used anywhere from 15 to 20 times before it is decommissioned. So yeah.
It's a fancy way of describing the demise of the pallet. What does the pallet turn into after it has been in its life and has achieved so much?
So we bring in, as I said, all different types of pallets each day, and we sort through those pallets. First, we determine, as we sort through the pallets, I go through a sorting process. That sorting process, we determine if that pallet is the right size or shape, that we have a customer base that would buy that pallet as is. So our first value point is to leave it as a pallet or a crate, because that obviously is the most efficient thing to do. Once we've determined that the pallet it's not the right size, it's an oddball, we don't have a customer base that fits that, then our second value point is lumber. So then we have dismantle machines that, what they are is a kind of big bandsaw, and it's about a 5 foot table. The bandsaw is about an inch off the table, and you get the 2x4. Say this is a 2x4, and this is your board. You get the blade right in between the two of them, and one person pushes, one person pulls, and it just clips all the nails off. So then the nails stay inside the wood, but then we dismantle the pallets, and then we sort all of that lumber then to best use that back through our process. If we don't use all the lumber, we actually sell it to other pallet companies that can use that lumber.
Interesting.
So that's our second. And then third, it goes to once there's no lumber value left in it, our broken boards and just, junk stuff, that goes to the grinders. We actually grind it. After we grind it, there's magnets that pull all the nails out. So all the nails, it goes prepared steel, and the wood fiber will go for colored landscape mulch or a hog fuel. So we are a zero landfill facility that no clean wood waste that touches our facility goes to a landfill. It's all reused 100%.
I love that idea because I used to work in the restaurant business. People know me as well from Ireland. Mother Hubbard's was my restaurant, and yeah, in a restaurant there should be no waste. If we are talking about a carcass of a turkey or whatever else, it should be made into a soup, etc. And getting back to wood, people that listen to my interviews, they think I know a little bit about everything, and I do know a little bit about everything, but I don't know everything about everything. And that's why it's a pleasure to have you on, Kyle Olson, who recycles pallets. That's my guest today. I grew up in an old ballroom dance hall back in the day. My parents owned it. The wood on the floor was maple, okay, which is a hardwood.
Yep.
Then you have oak, and then you have mahogany. I guess mostly in pallets it's all softwoods, like pine, maybe. Is that right?
Well, it depends on what part of the country it's made in. We actually do have a small division that we sort out high end lumber, I guess I would call it. When you talk about mahogany, we actually depends on what part of the world what lumber. In the United States, pine is the bulk of what we use. But if you get any crates or pallets and come from India, they'll be made predominantly out of mahogany. So
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so we'll get crates that come from Japan that we actually cut them apart, and it's Japanese cedar they're built out of.
Right.
So we will sell that or use that for accent lumber, and we do the same with the mahogany. And some guys will buy it for furniture or buy it for accent walls.
I would be, I guess I'd be on the high end of that one. So the low end, the low end is probably like when people see like Christmas trees or pine, obviously.
Yeah.
And pine is soft. Yeah. And again, the fact I was born in Ireland, pine grows very, very fast. Okay. So when when forest people like plant their pine, the ROI, the return it is very, very good. And if you're into whiskey and vodka, and if you want to get that business, vodka is faster to distill than whiskey, obviously, because whiskey takes longer. Pine grows fast. So I guess the majority of your pallets are pine, I guess, yeah?
The majority that we would be built out of pine. We do have a fair amount in the area that I have a hardwood. So we build a fair amount out of new hardwood as well, just because of the area that we are in has a fair amount of hardwood in Wisconsin. Okay.
And then you're obviously based in Wisconsin, and you're there, as you said, for whatever, and a number of years now. So your company is obviously and clearly successful, and congratulations on that. It's good to see a young man like yourself doing well in business. And I guess my next question is, like, people are interested in recycling, despite maybe you think, oh, everybody doesn't know about it yet, but people are talking about it. And this is why it's good to talk to you as well, because now more people will talk about it. And I spoke about you today to people as well before I got here, and they want to know what else is recycled. Do you get into any other products like, say, cooking oil or anything like that, or is that a totally diversified area?
We do because our basis of our customers are going to be vendors. Our customers are going to be a lot of manufacturing, distribution, transportation, things like that. So we do cardboard as well. We take in cardboard and bale that and then bring that in for recycling as well. It's more of we don't make a lot of profits off of it, but it gives you a good, it's just one more thing to get your foot in the door with somebody that wants to be a good recycler, that you can give them full service.
Okay, so it's goodwill, basically.
Do a little bit of cloth as well. So we do a little bit of shrink wrap as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's interesting.
And that's about all that we do.
Yeah. Well, again, for my listeners, I'm talking with Kyle Olson. He is recycling wood pallets, crates, and all that stuff. And so the recycling machinery that you have to have in your plant, I guess, is high end for my listeners' point of view, and they are very intelligent, some of them, not all of them. It's like a paper shredder, I guess, yeah? Except it's a wood chipper.
That would be the grinder at the end would be like a shredder. At the very end of it, when you grind it up, it's like a shredder. So like before that, though, to dismantle the pallets, it's like a bandsaw that just cuts the nails off.
Yeah.
And then from there, when you're fixing the pallets, it's a lot of manual labor, because you have to hand kind of sort everything and look through it to see if it's the right size, and then there's tables that the guys fix the standard 4840 pallets, 4-way, or they call them a grocery pallet. That's the standard that pretty much everything ships on.
In your plant, how many people do you employ approximately?
About 65.
That's excellent. That's very good. And I guess it's consistent, because recycling is recycling is recycling is recycling. It's back to my toilet paper analogy. Everyone has to use toilet paper.
Yeah.
The job is never complete until the paperwork is done. And one more question I guess I have for you is, how far out is your outreach of people that come to you to recycle? Are you like 50 miles, 100 miles, or like?
We reach out about a 200-mile radius around us.
Excellent. Yeah.
So yeah, we have a little bit in Iowa that we do, a fair amount in Minnesota, but I mean the bulk of what we do is in Wisconsin, but we do a little bit in Iowa and a little bit in Minnesota as well.
I did a Google map thing of your plant, and it looks very, very impressive. And I was well impressed because I'm a country boy, and I like to see space and other space. And you seem to have all that around you and about you in where your plant's located. And I guess in terms of expansion, I'm sure you see yourself expanding maybe where you are right now, but maybe outside of that, like opening up another plant, say in New York State or upstate New York or something like that. Say like the Catskills maybe, or somewhere where someone has some old farmland and something like that. Like I could open up one. I'm learning from you now. I'd be shredding and doing whatever. Well, maybe if I went to the bank, maybe I might have that problem. Yeah, I want to be borrowing the money. So when you started that, who influenced you to start the business?
When I was younger, I worked for a guy that we built farm equipment out of when I was in high school. Farm equipment. Yeah, so like bale throw racks and bunker feeders and things like that. And then after that, his son started a crating business that had one customer that moved to town, a glass company that moved into our town, and so I worked for him, and then I wound up buying that from him in my mid-20s. I purchased a bar at the time, so I was running a bar and doing that at the same time.
Wow.
So then
late at night you were talking to people because it's good to talk. Yeah. And someone said, "Oh, you should set up your own business." It sounds good, yeah.
So then my younger brother wanted to work for me, and he's a super hard worker. So I just went door to door asking people, businesses in my area if they had any crating or blocking, because that's what I knew. And a lot of them were like, "Well, I got junk pallets to get rid of," and other ones like, "Oh, if you had recycled pallets, I'd buy them." And there was enough people that wanted to get rid of some, and enough that wanted some, that I was like, well, I guess I'll see. I'll try to see what goes here. And I had a friend, Josh, that he was my first kind of partner. He worked at a hospital as a security guard, and I was talking to him about it, and he's like, "Oh, there's a couple guys at my work that take pallets to the cities and sell them." And I was like, "Oh, let's see if they'll sell them to me." And they went talk to him because they're pallet. We call them pallet pirates, but they're pretty territorial about where they get their pallets from, so they don't like to talk about it. So he's like, "Well, I'll borrow my grandpa's pickup truck, and maybe I'll go see if I can find you some pallets." And he started driving around picking up pallets, and in about 6 months we realized in a hurry we were kind of in a void. There was no big players recycling pallets in western Wisconsin. They had the big companies had a few of the big spots where they could drop semi trailers, but that was all the medium. The small stuff was wide open. So we grew quick and took advantage of that, and over the time. And so
your business, like say like Liffey, the moving business, and Liffey does storage as well. And the storage business is practically, it's like recession proof. So your business sounds like it's recession proof as well. Like there's always turnover, there's always income, there's always something happening and coming in and going out. So I guess the pandemic didn't really affect your business all that much, I would hope, I guess, yeah.
No, it actually, we actually grew quite a bit through the pandemic.
Okay, good.
Because with everybody staying at home, people were ordering more goods instead of going out for services.
Correct.
So in general, there was a lot more stuff being shipped.
Absolutely. So there are positive sides to, it's like when people say an ill wind blows good sometimes,
Yep.
Just giving you some old sayings from Ireland. And if somebody down here has listened to Kyle and myself, Kyle is with the recycling of pallets in Wisconsin, and somebody wanted to maybe get into that business, would you franchise your name or your expertise, or is that something that's up in the air Where do
I
you
mean, I
see
could
yourself-
definitely.
Go ahead, answer, please. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would, help them out and give them some advice on how to get started and things like that. I mean,
Excellent.
I always like to help other people getting started.
So do I.
So
That's excellent. A very, very good answer. And we'll get your email up on the screen. I interviewed Adam last week. He's a medical massage therapist. So if any of your guys are suffering from lower back pain or stress, or yourself or whoever, Adam is the guy. Adam did have a question for me. He said, how am I going to make interviewing Kyle interesting? I said, Adam, you keep fixing people's backs and I'll do the talking, okay?
yeah,
And since I interviewed Adam, by the way, I'm getting emails from people that say, oh, you didn't ask Adam this and you didn't ask Adam that. Well, I will ask Adam on the next interview. And if people have questions for you, Kyle, they can email me as well, jh4news@yahoo.com. And then I'll pop them up on my next podcast. About once a week I do the podcast. It's good to talk. So it's good to talk to you. And I think that's it, Kyle.
yeah, it's great talking to you as well.
It's good to talk.